Reaching 60 can feel like standing on the top of a hill, looking back at a long road you've walked, and then realizing the path ahead feels quieter, emptier, and perhaps lonelier. Friends may have moved away or passed on. Children may be grown and living their own lives, and the days may seem longer than they used to. For many, this season brings both a strange freedom and a deep ache, the freedom of your own time, but the ache of solitude. At 60, you carry a lifetime of stories within you. Some make you smile, others still make you ache. You have walked through moments that felt like the sun would never set, and others that felt like the dawn would never come. And if you're honest, there might be chapters you wish you could rewrite, decisions you wish you had made differently, words you wish you had spoken, and opportunities you wish you had taken. Self-compassion begins when you realize that those moments, the wins and the losses, are all part of the same tapestry. It's not about ignoring your mistakes or pretending your regrets don't exist. It's about refusing to let them define who you are today. It's about looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I forgive you for the things you didn't know then. I honor you for surviving them. I accept you as you are now. It's so easy, especially when alone, to become your own harshest critic. The mind plays old memories like a loop, whispering, if only you had done better, you wouldn't be here. That voice can be ruthless. But self-compassion is the quiet courage to challenge it, to speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you deeply love. You would never tell a dear friend they are worthless because of past mistakes. So why do you tell yourself that? Practicing self-compassion means giving yourself permission to be human. It's allowing yourself to rest without guilt, to take care of your body, not because you're chasing youth, but because you respect the years it has carried you through. It's treating your emotional wounds with tenderness, not shame. This pillar becomes even more vital when you're 60 and alone, because there will be days when you are the only one to offer yourself comfort. On those days, your kindness to yourself can be the difference between sinking into despair and finding the strength to keep going. You begin to realize that your worth has never been tied to what others think of you or whether someone is there to validate you. It has always been tied to your existence itself. Self-compassion transforms loneliness into solitude, a place where you can sit with yourself and feel safe, not judged. It opens the door for healing, for courage, and for peace. And it whispers a truth that may take years to believe, but is always real. You have done enough. You are enough. And you deserve to be treated with gentleness, especially by yourself. Loneliness is not just the absence of people, it is the absence of feeling seen. You can be in a room full of people and still feel invisible. At 60, when the rhythm of life changes, connection becomes both more precious and for some harder to find. The children you raised may be grown and busy. Friends you once called every day may have moved away, drifted apart, or even passed on. The social roles that once defined your identity, parent, spouse, career builder, may have shifted or disappeared. And in that silence, you may feel a deep ache that asks, do I still matter to anyone? Connection is the answer to that ache. But here's the truth. It doesn't always mean finding dozens of new friends or filling your calendar with endless events. Connection at this stage of life is about quality, not quantity. It's about seeking out people who make you feel valued, understood, and appreciated exactly as you are, no performance required. This could be one trusted friend you can call at midnight without fear of judgment. It could be a sibling who knows your history as well as you do. It could be a neighbor you share a cup of tea with every Tuesday, or a group you meet for morning walks. These small, steady touch points remind you that you are part of a larger human story, that you are woven into lives beyond your own. But connection is not only about what others can give you. It's also about what you can give. At 60, you carry decades of wisdom, stories, and life lessons that someone else needs to hear. Sharing your time, skills, and encouragement with others creates a bridge between your world and theirs. You might join a volunteer group, mentor someone younger, or simply show up consistently in someone's life. The act of giving strengthens your sense of belonging as much as receiving does. Sometimes building connection also means stepping outside your comfort zone. It might mean joining a class even when you feel nervous, introducing yourself to someone new, or learning how to use technology to video call a loved one. Yes, it can feel awkward at first, but connection often grows from small acts of courage. And let's not forget, connection can also be spiritual. Whether through faith, meditation, nature, or quiet reflection, you can nurture a connection to something greater than yourself. This kind of connection gives you a sense of grounding even on days when no one else is physically present. At 60 and alone, connection becomes a lifeline, not because it erases solitude, but because it transforms into something less heavy. When you know there are people you can reach for, and when others know they can reach for you, the loneliness doesn't own you anymore. Instead, you are part of a web of care, love, and shared humanity that stretches far beyond your own four walls. Purpose is what gets you out of bed in the morning with something to look forward to. It's what shapes your days, gives meaning to your choices, and keeps you moving forward even when life feels quiet or uncertain. At 60, the routines that once defined your identity may no longer be there. You might not have a job to rush to, children to care for, or a spouse to plan with. For many, this shift can feel like being set adrift. The days blur, the hours feel longer, and the question, now what, lingers. Purpose is the antidote to that drift. It doesn't have to be something grand or world-changing. In fact, purpose often hides in the smallest, most personal places. It might be tending a garden and watching something grow under your care. It could be writing the memoir you've been thinking about for years. It might be mentoring a younger person who needs the guidance you wish you'd had at their age. It could be volunteering at an animal shelter, joining a local cause, or creating art simply because it makes you feel alive. The beauty of purpose at this stage of life is that it's no longer about proving yourself to anyone. You don't have to chase titles, accolades, or the approval of others. Your purpose can be entirely your own, something that lights you up inside, even if no one else sees it. In fact, the most fulfilling purposes often grow quietly, away from the spotlight, feeding your soul in ways recognition never could. When you have a purpose, your solitude feels less like an empty room and more like a workshop, a space where you create, plan, and invest in something that matters to you. It gives your days a rhythm, turning time from something you simply pass into something you actively fill. Purpose gives you a reason to wake up with anticipation, to mark the days not by what you've lost, but by what you're building. For some, purpose comes from serving others. For others, it's about self-discovery, exploring the passions you never had time for before. Either way, purpose is deeply personal, and it can evolve over time. What matters is that it stirs something in you. And here's the truth. Your purpose doesn't have to be perfect or permanent. It can change with the seasons of your life. You may try something and realize it's not for you, and that's okay. What matters is the trying, the moving, the willingness to step into something new. Because when you have a purpose, you are no longer just living, you are living for something. And that gives your life, even in solitude, an unshakable meaning. Resilience is the quiet strength that carries you through life's storms and allows you to stand again when everything in you feels like collapsing. At 60, resilience is not a theory, it's a lived reality. You've already endured moments that could have broken you: the loss of loved ones, seasons of financial strain, health challenges, disappointments, betrayals, and dreams that never came to be. Yet here you are, breathing, standing, and still finding a way forward. That alone is proof that resilience already lives within you. But resilience at this stage isn't about simply toughing it out or pretending you're unaffected. It's about acknowledging the pain, the fatigue, and the fear, and then choosing to keep going anyway. It's about adapting to a new normal without letting it rob you of hope. It's about facing the truth of your situation and still believing that your best days are not necessarily behind you. Building resilience in your 60s often means developing new ways of thinking and living. The world changes quickly, and the ability to learn, adjust, and reinvent yourself becomes essential. Maybe it's mastering technology so you can stay connected to loved ones. Maybe it's adjusting to a slower pace of life without losing your sense of purpose. Maybe it's recovering from an illness or a loss that you thought you could never overcome, yet here you are, finding your footing again. Resilience is built in the small, unglamorous choices you make every day. It's saying, I will try again when you feel like giving up. It's choosing to take that walk when your body tells you to stay in bed. It's calling a friend when your instinct is to withdraw. It's opening yourself to possibility after disappointment. At 60 and alone, resilience also means letting go of the idea that your strength has to look like it did in your 20s or 30s. Strength now might mean pacing yourself, protecting your energy, and asking for help when you need it, not as a sign of weakness, but as a strategy for endurance. And here's the beautiful true resilience. Doesn't just help you survive hard seasons, it changes you. Each challenge you faced has shaped you into someone wiser, more empathetic, and more aware of what truly matters. You have learned that storms eventually pass, that healing comes in its own time, and that you are capable of far more than you once believed. Resilience whispers to you in the quiet moments, you've made it through before, you can make it through again. It's the unshakable belief that no matter how alone you may feel, you are not defeated. You are still here. You are still standing, and you are still becoming. Joy is not a luxury. It is not something you earn only when life is perfect. It is a necessity for the soul, especially when life feels quiet or heavy. And at 60, joy takes on a new depth. It is no longer about chasing thrills or proving something to the world. It is about savoring the small, sacred moments that remind you you're still alive, still capable of feeling light, warmth, and wonder. When you are alone, it can be tempting to believe that joy is for other people, for couples holding hands in the park, for families gathered around loud dinner tables, for the young chasing dreams with wild energy. But joy doesn't belong to an age group, a relationship status, or a certain kind of life. It belongs to you here and now if you are willing to invite it in. Joyful living at this stage often begins with paying attention. It's slowing down enough to notice the glow of the sunrise, the taste of your morning coffee, the sound of rain on the roof, or the way a favorite song can stir up old, beautiful memories. It's giving yourself permission to dance in your living room, to laugh loudly at a silly joke, or to sit in a cozy chair with a good book for hours without guilt. But joy is also an act of courage. It means choosing to open your heart again, even when life has given you reasons to close it. It means allowing yourself to enjoy today without fearing what might happen tomorrow. It's finding delight not because your life is free from pain, but because joy and pain can exist side by side, and joy is worth fighting for. To live joyfully, you must make room for it. That might mean setting aside time each week for a hobby you love, or trying something new just for the fun of it. It could mean planting flowers, baking bread, learning a new skill, or traveling to a place you've never been, even if it's just the next town over. It might even mean creating traditions for yourself, like a weekly date where you treat yourself to your favorite meal or movie. And here's the secret: joyful living is contagious. When you carry joy, people feel it around you. Your smile, your energy, your presence, they become a gift to others, drawing connection and light into their lives too. At 60 and alone, joy becomes an act of rebellion against the heaviness that tries to settle on you. It says, I am still here. My life is still worth celebrating. There are still moments left that can make my heart lift. And the more you choose joy, the more you realize it was never gone. It was always waiting for you to claim it again. Self-reliance is the steady, unshakable foundation that allows you to stand tall even when there is no one else to lean on. It's the quiet confidence of knowing that whatever life places in your path, you have the inner resources to navigate it. At 60, self-reliance doesn't mean you never ask for help. It means you trust yourself to handle what you can, and you know how to make wise choices when help is needed. When you're alone, there is a certain power in realizing you can depend on yourself. It changes the way you walk through the world. You no longer wait for someone else to rescue you, to fix your circumstances, or to make you feel complete. You become your own anchor, your own safe place, your own problem solver. And in that shift, loneliness loses some of its grip because you are no longer living in a state of waiting. You are living in a state of doing. Self-reliance begins with self-trust. It's believing in your ability to make decisions for your life without being paralyzed by doubt. It's managing your finances with clarity, keeping your home in a way that supports your peace, and taking responsibility for your health, not out of fear, but out of respect for the body and mind that have carried you this far. It also means building practical skills that make you feel capable and independent. This might be learning how to cook